Nour, I'm gonna go get revenge.
On who?
This guy at work, he looked at me the wrong way, so I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna look at him the wrong way.
What?
The wrong way.
Okay. Hey guys, Nour here, and here's how to write a revenge story that is believable and exciting. But before we get started, thank you so much to all of you for supporting Divinity Falling's release and celebrating with us last week. And if you missed the release, I will leave that in the card up here so you can check it out. Many of you have already sent me pictures of your own copy of Divinity Falling, and I just want you all to know that you guys have made my year. I would love to see more of you share your photos of my book, that way I could give you a shout out on my social media platforms. So be sure to tag me and include the hashtag Divinity Falling. I would also love to know your thoughts on the book, so if you can review it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or wherever you ordered your copy, it would help the book have a better chance of being found. Okay, that's all I wanted to say about that. Let's dive right into today's topic. Thank you Loki Vani for this video suggestion. So revenge stories are great because they keep readers interested in the story. The protagonist isn't just sitting around wondering what to do next. They're out for vengeance. However, revenge stories can go terribly wrong if you make them cliche or make the protagonist evil or just have a poorly thought out motivation. Now, you might be thinking, Nour, a revenge story is about one thing, revenge. So how can it be complicated? Well, it's not complicated per se, but it's also not just about revenge. Your main character isn't just going after his high school ex for dumping him. Or your main character isn't just trying to kill a guy he witnessed killing his neighbor that he barely knows. Those motivations make the character look either too immature or flat. When it comes to the high school ex, the protagonist hasn't grown up and gone over a normal milestone. So we as readers can't connect with him. And when it comes to witnessing the murder at the neighbor's house, we are left wondering why the protagonist is choosing to risk his own life and act like a hero just to avenge his neighbor that he doesn't really know much about. It doesn't make sense, especially if they don't know each other much. Which means that the protagonist's motivation is flat. He is not a well-rounded character. Or to better phrase that, he is not a realistic or believable human. So what are you supposed to do in a revenge story? First off, start off with a realistic motivation. Your protagonist isn't just angry for the sake of being angry. We need to empathize with them and feel that what they're doing is justified. Which means that their vengeance must have a good motivation backing it up. Here are some good examples of a strong motivation behind a vengeance. The main character's daughter is kidnapped and used in human trafficking. Now the protagonist must go after her kidnappers. Can you recognize this story? It's Taken with Liam Neeson. Or how about this? The main character is violated. She's hurt physically, mentally, and emotionally, and that pain makes her want revenge. So she goes after the violator, wanting to give him a taste of his own medicine, that way he never violates another girl ever again. Here, the motivations have emotion and pain behind them. Plus, we can understand the need for vengeance. We want the bad people to be caught, or to at least put an end to their crimes. However, keep in mind that the protagonist can't just take vengeance into their own hands on a whim. They don't just lose their daughter 1 second and then the next they want to go hurt the violators. I mean, there might be people who do that, but realistically, the protagonist would try to reach out to those who can help. They'd go to the cops first. They'd try to get a search party together. And when everything else fails, when reaching out for help gets them nowhere, that's when they take matters into their own hands. It's the last thing on their mind, but when everything else doesn't work, that's the only thing left to try. Another thing to remember when writing a revenge story is to not make the antagonist 100% bad for the sake of being bad, as it's been too overdone in my opinion. It's become a cliche. The human traffickers just really love what they do. It makes them a lot of money. Ooh. Give your antagonist a motivation of their own. For example, they started out in a bad place in their life. They were living on the streets. They lost their family, they had no place to go. Then a gangster took them in and taught them the ropes. They started earning big money doing illegal things. Their life turned around. They then became somebody in the community because of their money. And now they have a family of their own and want to keep them well fed and don't want them to go through what they've gone through. And human trafficking, though bad, it has become an easy means of keeping their family on top. So while their actions are bad and their motivation is skewed, it's still a well-rounded motivation and not a flat, stereotypical one. No one is just evil with nothing else to their name. Everyone has a story, remember that. Next, put together all these elements. Your protagonist has a realistic motivation, meaning that something happened to them to make them want vengeance, and this something hurt them mentally, emotionally, and/or physically. So when your protagonist fails to get justice using legal and honorable means, they decide to dish honor and just take matters into their own hands. This is exciting because they no longer need to be ethical or polite. Something in them snapped and they want vengeance. But we must also empathize with their actions by understanding that if we were in their shoes, we would also do the same thing. Meanwhile, the antagonist also has their own well-dimensional story to create realism. And that is how you write a revenge story. How you end the story is up to you. The protagonist wins and lives, wins and dies, loses and lives, or loses and dies. I don't really care. So that's all there is to it. Let me know in the comments if you've ever written a revenge story. What was the best part to write? I'd love to know. Thanks again to Loki Vani for this awesome video suggestion. Also, thank you to Sarah Frayne in my shoutout tier over at Patreon, and thank you to all my other patrons. Your support means the world to me. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on social media to keep up with little snippets of my life. Thank you for watching, and remember, Nour for president!